Thank you so much for that talk right there. I mean, it's definitely at the top of everyone's mind here. It's the Wild West in the world of AI in a lot of ways, with us not knowing some of our creations and things that we're working on. What the legal status of them will be in the coming years. Um, but with a topic like that, I think it's best pitched to the panel of experts that we just heard from. So I'm going to invite Stefan, Jesus, and Anand to the stage. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your insightful talks at this part of the Prompt Engineering Conference. Some fantastic, just differing perspectives. We have some great comments and questions from people. Some for individuals, and then some hopefully you can all answer for us. So, Stefan, since you kicked us off with just this really kind of insightful discussion, linking classical methods to these new generative AI patterns, one of the things that came up, could you maybe elaborate on some of the similarities and differences between the evolution of traditional programming patterns and then the development of AI prompt patterns in generative AI?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. In fact, one of the first prompt I crafted with ChatGPT months ago was about do we need a new kind of software engineering, because software is about maintaining in time the quality of software program you develop. But my question was, will we need a new kind of software engineering in order to maintain in the long term the prompt we are crafting, or maybe it's just a waste of time and we no longer need to focus on that because you can create as much prompt as you want and you don't really need to maintain them. So but in the meantime, you saw that the prompt itself, its format, already evolved. Now you can put some comments in a prompt to give context. You can also include code, software code like Python, and so on. So, well, you know what they say: prediction is very difficult, especially about the future. So we'll see. We'll see in the future.
Absolutely. I mean, just kind of, it almost begs the kind of thing that's on a lot of our minds. Do you think that with some of these changes, is the end of is the age of giant models, coming to an end, and we're going to have all these small specialized models?
Sure, sure.
What in what use cases do you think a large model is better versus these small, like refined ones, even if there's an infinitely interchangeable number of small models?
Yeah, well, as you say, an infinite number, because I think that most of business domain will have their own specific targeted models, because they are addressing specific needs. But the big one will be able to grasp very large questions. I mean, in my daily activities, I don't need a model that is able to understand Sanskrit and also translate into some other obscure language from the Middle Age. But maybe it's there are some field of work that require that. So don't know if
Absolutely.
give some insight.
I mean, I find myself translating things to Sanskrit all the time in GPT-4. So maybe that's just something that you have, no immediate need for. One more from you from the comments in the audience from Magnus Oxenwalt. With AI models evolving, will we reach a point where intra-prompt engineering becomes redundant due to the model's inherent understanding? Are we headed to a promptless future? The promptless engineering conference in 2024?
Right. So, but I think we already saw that arriving. There is the sponsor of the conference, Prompt Perfect, and already with a very small prompt, you can create something more detailed. And so, yes, probably in the near future, there will be uh, an easier access to the prompt engineering, in fact. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I kind of firmly believe that once this is in the mainstream, most folks won't interact with
Yeah,
LLMs
sure,
in the
sure.
way we are right now. You
Yeah,
know, they're going to have some veneer, some
yeah,
wrapper, some prompt as a service, and that's how they use
yeah.
language models.
But
Um,
probably to create such insight, very detailed uh, artistic creation like Jesus produced, there will always be a need for highly skilled people and prompt engineering skill, I suppose.
Absolutely. Well, I want to transition to Jesus's talk and just some truly incredible images and videos that you shared with us. I mean, I don't know if you were following Jesus. I think about everybody online asked for what tool or workflow you had,
Mhm.
and I kept trying to
Yeah,
comment like, "Oh, this ain't just one. This is definitely a collaborative effort."
yeah,
One of the things that I was thinking about that I think came up as a result of some of those type of discussions is almost like, is there potentially like a need for some sort of aggregation platform for all these Gen AI tools? You know, how would you maybe even envision that
yeah,
layout? You know, how might that look? Would it all just be some shared canvas you plug everything into and it the model knows, or you just get
yeah.
kind of get a bunch of different levers?
Yeah, well, as I explained it during my session, and many people that probably arrived late, they was asking about what tools are is he using? You know, like, what is the list? Okay, it was at the beginning of the session, so you can see the recording. But the thing is that it's not about the tools itself; it's about the process, as I described. Okay, so obviously, right now, each model and each tool is very specific for a concrete task, and that tool mm, is capable to do that thing very well, but not other things. So my task here as a conductor of the orchestra is basically to provide the outcome of one tool to another tool. So I have to basically mix the models by myself. But we are pretty close to models that are going to be multimodal. Okay, so it will be very easy that we will jump from a prompt to a static image, then we can convert that static image into a video, or we can convert that static image into a 3D figurine, as I made today with the actions figures, and I showed that, and it's going to be easier. But at the end, it will be surely one provider giving you those models. Okay, so I think the platforms that allow the people to connect different models over the cloud, surely this is going to happen. Okay, and I think some providers like us in Microsoft, we have announced that some other models can be integrated into your pipeline. And of course, all the tools that I use it today are free for everyone. Well, not free, some of them are freemium or premium, but the thing is that they are open for everyone. I wouldn't recommend anyone to use these tools for an enterprise ready solution. Okay, so if you want to make this happen, as I've been collaborating with studios and media companies and agencies, advertising agencies, if you want to make this thing securely and with the right privacy, ensuring that you will have a copyright of it, then you need to do it behind the wall. Okay, you have to do it obviously with your own cloud platform and adopting those models or deploying them by yourself. Okay, because some of them are really easy to integrate with others. Someone was asking about, but then how you get the STL files from a 3D? I say, well, it was like a one click. For me, it was like export to STL. It was as simple as that. Obviously, you want to convert that thing in something programmatic, then you need to integrate it into a pipeline, and surely with some code it will be easy to make it. But the reality is that all my research, especially on experiences for end users and creative roles, is made with tools that are available for everyone. That's why I provided the list at the beginning, and everyone can explore all of those tools. Some of them will charge you for a fee, okay? Others will open you a world for 400 credits. Some of them also, as I was beta tester of some of them, they gave me like infinite credits, okay, just to test because I was helping them with feedback. But
Nice.
they are open. I encourage everyone to test all of the tools in that list, and they will be amazed because what I did, they will be able to make it. Okay, each one in a different level. At the beginning, if when you are a newbie, you feel that the tools probably are not doing what you want, but as soon as you become a little bit proficient, then you realize, wow, I have like no, I'm like I feel like Superman. I have superpowers now. I can do everything that I want, and that's in some way. How do you feel when you become proficient with these tools?
Super design powers, indeed. Wow. I mean, it's also encouraging to know that if you can apply some existing talent, and I'm sure your experience as an animator and things like that obviously come to bear when you're
Yeah.
thinking about composition and stuff like that. We just had here in the last few weeks OpenAI release GPT-4 Vision, and I've been a ardent, just been playing around with it, trying to find, what it can and can't do, what the limitations are. How do you kind of envision that fitting into these design workflows?
Well, I said, it's from the videos that I shared today. Some of them there were from 6 months ago, and now I would probably use another different tools. But the thing is about the workflow, as I explained it at the beginning. As I'm a one-man band for most of these challenges, okay, sometimes I have some help from some colleagues that are experts on video gaming. The ones that I made about video gaming, I try to leverage the expertise of some friends. But sometimes I'm a one-man band. So what I do is basically to use ChatGPT to orchestrate everything. Even I'm not a filmmaker, so I don't know how to do an advertising and put on a whole story in less than 1 minute. So I leverage ChatGPT to help me. Okay, how would you design the sequences? And even ChatGPT is so good that can help you if you have no idea about filmmaking. Can help you to say, try to start with slow motion images, no more than 3 seconds. Then you can accelerate later, and even structure the ad to tell the whole story and say that you have to go through this, and this in sequence. And with that also, that helping me to create my prompts. Okay, so I think these kind of tools that can enable you to go from a single idea to an end story are going to be, I think,
Yeah.
coming to us in the next weeks. I used to say months, but sometimes I'm super pessimistic because it's in weeks, not in months. Okay.
Yeah, by the time you learn anything, it's already out of date in some respects. Well, no, that's almost like
And
that you're using ChatGPT as your kind of collaborator throughout the
yeah,
process of using all the tools,
literally.
validating and going back and forth.
It's
Um,
something you mentioned it here. I want, sorry to interrupt you, but it's
no,
something
go
that you
ahead.
mentioned it here that for me is super critical. Is that you can have some previous skills, and I used to say that for the ones that have zero skills on something, this will make you, from zero to hero. That's it. You have no idea about photography, and you will be able to get a great picture that looks like a professional photographer. One. But the thing is that if you are a professional photographer, then is when you become literally like Thanos, okay? Like with the gauntlet of the infinite. You can do everything you want, everything you decided all your life. That's what you are able to do right now. Why? Because I can design a very good picture, but I'm not aware about what is the perfect lens, what is the perfect light, what is the perfect perspective. That's what a professional photographer knows. So probably whatever I can do, a photographer will do it much better than me. Whatever I can do with 3D, an animator or a 3D designer can do much better than me. Okay, so it's not a matter of seeing that, this guy acquired some super special skills. No, it's not that way. It's completely the opposite way. You have previous skills, then you can use them to become even better on that specific area. Okay, and that's something that you mentioned at West that I love it, because it's like I try to encourage all the people that are in training right now with different companies and agencies, and to, hey guys, this is not your end, and neither the end of the creativity. This is completely the opposite thing. This is, the starting point of an era that is going to make everyone super creative, and everyone with a single idea will be able to convert that idea into something real.
And I often say too, as well, just to add on to that, like the commodity of execution now is kind of offloaded to the AI, where we can just put a lot of our creativity and our emotional intelligence and feelings and perspective into anything we're doing, thanks to AI. And I think that's definitely the case. When I teach image generation or Midjourney in one of our online courses on the Uplimit platform, people are kind of surprised because the first thing we do is, okay, hey, we're going to learn about AI image generation and first an art history lesson and then photography 101. We'll get to
Yeah,
the AI eventually, but you're going to need
yeah,
these things, these levers to pull,
totally.
the buttons to press before you can do that.
Totally.
I think it's very fitting too. We have Anand here too, talking about IP and copyright issues, because I know that's something that is still a big question mark for the design community, especially. But the prompts, like, what is the ownership going to be? You know, I think that that whole landscape is going to change here a whole lot in the next few years. So I want to give Anand the chance to answer a few questions too, you know, as it pertains to that and other things. You know, so one of our questions we got, what would be some suggestions on how to protect your IP when building products using ChatGPT? What can be protected?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity, and I really enjoyed the creation of Jesus. Wonderful. And so coming back to the products, right? So when you create a product with ChatGPT, the first and foremost thing is that if any of the content that can be proven to be taken as it is from the existing content, where the match is a certain percentage match, it is going to basically say that it has infringed upon the intellectual property. So, and the jury is still out, as we all know, right? As far as the chat GPT is concerned. There are models that are getting created. For example, in terms of technology, there is a GitHub Copilot. In GitHub Copilot, there is they have kind of made sure that they are not able to access the code, which is a proprietary code. And that is how you have to protect the IP when you are building the product. So if you are using chat gpt or any large language models, you will have to constrain it in terms of not being able to access any intellectual property which is already there. If you do that, then obviously you will not be able to get any intellectual property, while you will be actually probably sued right, because you have already infringed upon somebody else's intellectual property. So the first thing is that when you are creating, when you are building a product, you will have to understand the constraint or the scope of what exactly you are going to access. And the second thing is what exactly is going to be the outcome. For example, the outcomes that we saw, wonderful outcomes that we saw from Jesus coming out, those outcomes, if they are matching in a certain fashion to a certain degree and extent, depending upon the laws of the land, whether it is US, whether it is India, whether it is Europe, different places, Australia, etc., etc., then it would come back as an infringement. In fact, I think that is the reason why he was saying that you should use enterprise grade tools rather than these, because it may so happen that there might be some sort of infringement of IP. So you have to be very careful in terms of the content that the tools are accessing, as well as the outcome that is coming out. That is the first thing. The second thing is, then once we are able to do it, then one, you can go and you can copyright or you can patent, depending upon what you are trying to do.
The outcome. Got it. No, that makes sense, and I think that aligns with a lot of how software development code works. It's the
Correct.
outcome that you're trying to protect.
Correct.
I think this next question perfectly kind of aligns with that. You know, when you're training a model that has a bunch of trials or a bunch of different outcomes, like, how do you then go about trying to protect something like that?
Yeah. So see the copyright is there are two types of copyrights, right? So one copyright is for the way in which you are building the model or the way in which you are training the model, the prompts themselves, right? The other copyright is for the outcome that is coming out, right? So copyright can be obtained in both ways. It doesn't matter whether there are multiple trials done. For every trial, for example, let's say I am an author of a novel, right? Let's say I have written Harry Potter's next 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th book. And if I create multiple books and I create multiple versions of that book, I will still get copyright for all of them. So, so even if there are models that are varying across many trials, the copyrights can be taken as long as it is not infringing on somebody else's copyright.
Well, it seems like the lawyers are going to benefit aplenty here in the age of
Obviously.
generative AI. They're licking their chops, because I can just think of, you know, doing multiple training epochs for a project that we did. I'm like, oh, okay, so that I gotta copyright 5 of these, like, all right.
Correct.
Well, that's
Lawyers
really
always benefit.
yeah,
Lawyers are
Yeah.
the ones who always benefit.
that's
Sounds like
You
an
know,
emerging industry here.
yeah, tech lawyers. So one more for all of you. I mean, this is we can't predict the future, but we're going to ask you guys too, just because maybe you have a little bit more perspective, or there's some things you're excited about. Given all these rapid advancements, in AI and prompt engineering, what do you think are maybe the emerging trends, maybe as it pertains to your discussions, in prompt engineering and design and intellectual property protection in the next year, 5 years, 10 years? I mean, that might as well be 1,000 years away at this point with the amount of advances we're going to see in the next 10 years. But yeah, I would love to hear your perspective, Stefan. Please tell us the future.
Well, I think we see the future happening in real time currently with generative AI, but soon we will have some, and we see them already, multimodal generative AI, and probably we will not no longer need to write some prompt, because now they can understand spoken language. So think we'll have some personal assistant arriving very soon on the market next year.
That'll be nice. AI personal assistant that just gets it. Jesus, I would love to hear what is exciting in your world, what you think is going to be the next really kind of breakthrough. It's hard to even imagine, considering like ChatGPT hasn't even been out a year,
Yeah.
which has really kind of been exploded onto the scene.
Well, I used to say also in my conferences that I'm not a futurist. I'm a researcher. So basically, I can talk about what I see. But my feeling is that, first of all, in terms of the area of creativity and creative roles, I think absolutely every tool that we had in the past will integrate in some way, in a higher or lower level, but AI. And that will, in fact, make indistinguishable something created with AI and not without AI. What does it mean also for the IP area that here we are commenting in depth? Okay, that there won't be a possibility, even a possibility to differentiate what is created with AI or not. So basically, by default, everything must be allowed to be created. I think the U.S. Copyright Office already has sent a letter basically explaining their positioning on this, and they basically said that even they would accept some work created with the help of AI if it's something that you can demonstrate that requires a human process. Okay, so they are not denying by default copyright, and that's in the medium term. But my feeling always with this is that whatever we try to predict in 1, 5, or 10 years, we will be wrong. And let me explain you why. I'm researching tools almost every single day since the last 18 months. And today I was surprised with the announcement from Meta when they launched new chatbots with the basically cloning and doing a deep fake of some artists and celebrities in US. Okay, so especially Kendall Jenner. I was impressed with that. I see almost every single model that is out there. I have never predicted that they will be launching today, October 2023, a model that can literally clone a person without a trained eye capable to find any single error. Okay, so whatever we try to predict for 1, 5, I think, and if we look at ourselves where we were at 12 months before, what we are living right now would be science fiction. Okay, the possibility to create videos or 3D models. We were thinking, okay, this will be possible probably 2-3 years. So how close we are from an AGI? I don't know. Some experts or some futurologists that are saying 3 years, 5 years. I don't know. Probably it's going to be closer than any of that. The thing is that in the moment that we realize that an artificial intelligence can become self-aware, or we automatically think, because of the bias of 100 years of science fiction films, that we will try to destroy us. Okay, that's what we are always thinking. Okay, but I think that's not going to happen. I'm not a believer of that kind of theories. But the fact is that I think it's going to be integrated absolutely everywhere. Also, another thing that is going to happen in a very few months, and I think the devices providers are going to announce these kind of things very soon, is that the devices will have their own AI to execute locally, okay, not to consume an external services. So try to imagine what does it mean for a phone, okay, that you have 99% of your time in front of you, okay, and what does it mean? Okay, the possibility to basically have an AI executing and running in your computer instead of consuming an external service in terms of privacy, security. That basically changed completely the game. So those are my predictions. I have to say the word, but I don't like the word of predictions. But that's what I'm seeing in the short term and probably in longer term.
No, thanks so much for that. That's perfectly punctuated. And Anand, I'd love to hear
Yeah.
your perspective on the
Yeah.
future, what it holds.
Sure. So, see, in my view, and I think it encompasses all of these things. The future is nearer than it looks like, right? Like what we say for the rear mirror. So, what happens over here now is that we had individuals, we had families, we had companies, and there was intellectual property or some sort of a property or some sort of a legal status that was given. It is going to be going forward people plus AI. So it is going to be multiple identities of individuals along with the AI and the mastery of AI that they are able to get onto, and that itself will become identity of people. And so the way in which we look at intellectual property today, the way in which we categorize it, even the words like copyright, etc., etc., I think there are newer words that are going to come. There are newer entities that are going to emerge. And I don't think that it has been covered in any of our science fiction. So we are in for a lot of excitement, is what I see.
That's fantastic. Well, I just want to thank Stefan, Jesus, and Anand for those wonderful discussions, wonderful talks, and the answers to those questions. Thank you so much again from everyone here at the team and everyone watching around the world. Folks on the stream, we're going to take a little virtual coffee break, but please be back with us here. Let's say about 8 minutes from now, and we're going to kick off with the second round of presentations. So again, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.